Well, when I go to neighborhood meetings, and I've been to many this year and when I ran last year as well, traffic is always the first thing they bring up, and maybe the water pipes freezing in the last 2 years has been quite an issue. I know some of the water mains are being fixed on South Union. There's a reconstruction of South Union, and they're redoing the water. I was up there, I looked at it, I talked to the workers. One of the things that's been brought to my attention is that might have been resurfaced 2 years ago, and I wonder if anyone checked the warranty on that work. I have heard in the state of Michigan that warranties on highways are not being recognized by governments, and they're just forgetting to go back and look, and some of that stuff might, the contractor might be responsible for. Good point to remember. So I take a little tour around the city and I think about Division Street and the MDOT study. I've participated in that. I think at 7th Street the problem is really signage. There's no signage eastbound on 7th Street from the hospital to tell you that you're in a one-of-a-kind intersection, so cars are hitting each other. Most people know about it, but if you're from out of town coming to a regional hospital, it just doesn't make any sense. 14th Street could be fixed with just making all the streets come together at right angles, because when you're coming eastbound on Silver Lake, you can't see oncoming traffic. It's blocked by left turners. So that's part of the problem there. It's not that hard to fix. It's expensive, but not as expensive as a roundabout. I don't think roundabouts are necessary in a residential area. My wife, for example, uses a wheelchair. I think she would be really cautious about going into a roundabout to cross a street versus crossing at where there's a stoplight or no light at all, just a normal intersection. 8th Street is a serious problem. It's been ignored, and I know that there's a time for everything and the city has scheduled it, but from 2 years ago to 3 years from now will be the span of time where it's been rough. The city has said publicly 2018 is the date to fix that street. That just doesn't seem right to me. I don't think the study they did was valid because the street is so rough, bicyclists are just avoiding it altogether, especially people with expensive bikes and lightweight narrow tires. I have a bike like that as well. I went to some businesses there and tried to show my affinity for getting the street fixed, and I was told, even though they had signs in their yards saying fix 8th Street, and I feel that that's important, they said they don't want to be political, which I just smile. West Front Street just got redone, and I live near there, and I feel a little bit ashamed almost that we've got so much attention given to our street, and I don't even remember any chuck holes along there. But not too far down Front Street by where Pine Street would be. There's some development in question there. There's a bridge that's just rotting out. The concrete's falling into the river. The reinforced steel is visible. I have pictures of it. I've shown pictures of it to people. They don't even realize that it's actually on Front Street. But it is, and it's just not being cared for. So that kind of infrastructure, bridges and streets is the most obvious, but the below stuff's important. My neighbor just got her tile field for her sewage fixed, so they replaced it from her house to the alley, and I talked to the contractors in the alley. Those are all ceramic, or at least most of them are in our neighborhood. They're crumbling. So I don't know if that's part of the cause why we have E. coli in our water at the beach, but the Chamber of Commerce should be very interested in keeping the beach water clean. All the water should be clean. We have a good water system here. The city runs it. The city water pumping station will need to be improved if we keep selling water to surrounding communities, the townships, which we do sell them water. And we should be really proud that we sell water to surrounding communities, that we're that, that strong as an infrastructure. Traverse City Light and Power, the electricity here, it's amazing that we own our own public utility and that the city benefits from it. It's a revenue source. I mean, think of government having a revenue source. That's unusual. When you own your own public utility, you do have a revenue source, and it's actually pretty lucrative. I would never think of selling the public utility. That's a short-term way to solve problems, and it's not, it's not reasonable at all, because it can pay back every year instead of 1 year. The sewers, I'd have to look closer at that, but I do know that most of them are ceramic, and people should be concerned. So if a street or an alley is going to be redone. Sewers, definitely. Those water main lines are being set lower when they're being replaced so that they're not as likely to freeze, so that'll help in the future. I should say that the bypass, that would be interesting. I would support a bypass Chums and Keystone Road, changing that to US 31, and then the 31 that we have coming through town, calling it a business 31. Thank you.